So are you ready for hairy women, designer guns, and eye vaginas? No, you're not. You're not ready. But let's talk about this trippy ass shit anyway. After Blue is brought to us by director Bertrand Mandico and stars Paula Luna, Alina Lawenson, and Agatha Bouzet. So in the future, when we've just royally fucked this planet all over, we decide to reach out into the stars and go to another planet to live on our lives. Only problem is with this planet called After Blue is that something to do with the atmosphere causes its inhabitants to grow hair. Like hair in funny places, if you will, like on their arms and stuff like that. Okay, that's fine. Unfortunately for males on After Blue, it causes you to grow your hair on the inside, which killed off all the men. So this planet, After Blue, is inhabited totally by women. Hairy, tribal women. Okay, one day Roxy, played by Paula Luna, stumbles across a woman buried in the sand on the beach. Now Roxy, being a young, curious teenager, decides to dig this young woman up. And when you know it, the woman was a convicted murderer, and she was put there so that the tide of the ocean could do what it does. This woman's name is Kate Bush, played by Agatha Bouzet. And Kate Bush, who kind of has claws for hands and an eyeball in her vagina, by the way, immediately and unceremoniously kills 3 people that are part of Roxy's tribe. She then comes over and molests Roxy for just a few minutes in a really odd scene and goes about her merry way. Now the other inhabitants of the tribe aren't real happy about these deaths, and they hold Roxy and her mother Zora, played by Alina Lawenson, responsible for these deaths and tell them that they have to go out and catch Kate Bush and get revenge. And we follow this mother-daughter off into the psychedelic odd alien world of After Blue, hunting down this maniac named Kate Bush. Now that synopsis I just gave you, while I'm sure that parts of it did seem a bit odd, just cannot do justice to how just fucking weird this movie is. I've seen a lot of fucking weird movies in the 3 years I've been reviewing movies here on YouTube, but I gotta say that this is probably one of the weirdest fucking movies I have ever seen since I started doing this thing. I had the opportunity to check this movie out at the Nightstream Film Festival this year, and yeah, I'm still not totally sure what I thought about it. Like, if you thought The Lighthouse was weird, which yes it was, it just doesn't compare to this movie. This movie's way out there. Now basically, its story is about the sexual awakening of our character Roxy. Now it's not quite that clear cut. This movie's got a whole lot of underlying themes and subtext, like a whole lot. And there's been a few times in reviews I've said, you know, this movie's not gonna be for everybody. This movie though is definitely not gonna be for everybody. In fact, this movie is going to be really difficult for a lot of people to get into. Me, myself, I like very visually appealing, really weird movies, but this movie did take me quite a bit of time to get into. I had a really hard time watching this movie at first. Now, it did grow on me, and I did get more intrigued by it as it went along, but even then, all the way to the end of the movie, this thing just has you scratching your head wondering, what in the actual fuck am I watching? Everything on this planet of After Blue is icky and gooey and juicy and just kind of overall nasty. Everything is also extremely hypersexualized. And you take all that icky, gooey, funky nastiness and put it together with that over-sexualization, and you just get something that's really odd. I'm sure there's people that are gonna find this erotic, and I guess there are parts of it that kind of are, but really it's just fucking weird and out there a lot of the time. I get that one of the main parts of it is about a sexual awakening, and when it comes to matters of sex, there is some icky gooiness to it, but god damn, this movie just really puts it all on display. And I don't mean it's showing like sexual stuff all the time, which I mean, yeah, it kinda is, but that's not even the gooey, icky stuff. No, like everything. This world is just like coated in slime and goo, if you will. Everything is dripping and oozing, and they're like bathing in it and just like eating it and just being really sexual with it all the fucking time. Maybe it's just me, but quite a bit of it is a bit disturbing. Now, I don't have any issues with sexualization, even over-sexualization. I love all that stuff, but man, this shit was just, whoo, it was way out there. Now, while all of this is going on and you're wondering what the hell is going on, what you will be treated to is one of the most visually stunning and interesting movies you have seen probably in a really long time. This movie did not have a large budget, I don't think, but man, it looks gorgeous. Not like gorgeous in the really attractive way that you're thinking, but just the world, the way it's shot, all the interesting things going on in it. Is just, there's constantly, you are bombarded with these interesting images on screen. It looks like an experimental French noir film straight out of the fucking 70s. And this aspect of the film, I fucking love. This movie is a treat to watch from beginning to end. Every single frame here has something for your eyes to just devour. This is a tour de force in storytelling. However, you don't always know exactly what the fuck that story is. And that is where my biggest issues with the film lie, is within the story versus the visual aspects of the film. Like I said, visually, this movie was fantastic. I loved watching it. It has so many interesting things going on. But narratively, at some point, it just gets really thin and really starts to lean on the visual aspects. And there's been plenty of movies that have done that I really did enjoy, but those movies typically do lean on the shorter side of things. This movie is over 2 fucking hours long, and at some point it does become a bit exhausting. The gorgeous cinematography, set design, and editing is there from beginning to end, but holy shit, the just out there kind of really thin yet just crazy fucking story is always there. But the lack of story and character development makes it really difficult to stay with this thing. All the subtext, metaphors, and underlying themes in the world don't help if your story is not strong enough to keep your viewer going. And while the movie is one of the most interesting viewing experiences I've had in quite some time, it just wasn't quite enough. Guys, After Blue is about as art house as an art house movie can get. It is expressionist cinema at its core, and it's just not going to be for most people. I found it to be a visual masterpiece and a treat for the eyes, though with its length, the narrative just really let it down. While I liked what the movie had to say, I wish it just said it a little bit quicker. This is about as French new wave as you can get, and seems like it's expressionist cinema straight out of the 70s. If those types of films aren't usually your bag, then just turn away now. Do not even give this film a second thought. But if that is the type of cinema that you are typically into, then you are probably gonna love this flick. Me, myself, I fell somewhere in the middle and would say that After Blue is totally worth checking out on streaming.
Across the street.
Most people are just not gonna like this movie. They're not gonna get it, and they're just gonna be like, what the fuck am I watching? But for those of you that this is your jam, you're going to absolutely love this shit. So check it out one night. I think you're gonna have an extremely interesting yet very weird and out there time for the evening. So there it is, guys, my review of After Blue. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below. Become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits that go along with that, like these guys. And possibly join my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, After Blue. One thing I didn't mention in the review that I typically don't mention in my reviews, but this particular movie I'm going to, would be the nudity in this film. The vast majority of the people in this movie just walk around butt-ass naked the whole time. And if they're not naked, they're wearing very few clothes, and there's always some body part hanging out. You got a titty or a vagina or something hanging out. There's just TNA all over the place in this thing. And remember, I did say that it was all very hypersexualized, which me, myself, personally, I mean, I didn't have a problem with it until that one part where they killed this big monster thing and then like took a bath in the cavity of its body, and it had all this like slime and goop and just like funky nasty stuff. They were like scooping up and like putting in each other's mouths and stuff and like bathing and just sticking it in all kinds of orifices and just all over each other within this cadaver, and it was just nasty and gross. Oh my god, this movie is just fucking out there.